Have you ever heard of a story so epic, it feels like it contains the entire history of humanity? A tale of gods, demons, heroes, and villains, all clashing in a war that would decide the fate of an age. This isn't just any story. It's the Mahabharata, one of the longest epic poems ever written, and at its heart lies a cataclysmic conflict. The Battle of Kurukshetra. Today, we're diving deep into this legendary war, exploring its mythical grandeur and uncovering the surprising real-world roots that suggest this epic tale might be more than just a myth. The story begins with a family feud, but this is no ordinary family squabble. It's a bitter rivalry between two sets of royal cousins, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. For the throne of the 5 Pandava brothers are the sons of King Pandu, righteous and skilled warriors, guided by the divine Krishna himself. On the other side, we have the 100 Kaurava brothers, led by the ambitious and envious Duryodhana, son of the blind king Drit. The tension between them had been building for years, fueled by jealousy, rigged dice games, public humiliation, and a 30-year exile forced upon the Pandavas. When the exile ended, and the Pandavas rightfully asked for their kingdom back, or even just 5 villages to rule, the arrogant Duryodhana refused, famously declaring he wouldn't give them enough land to stick a needle in. With that, all avenues for peace were closed. War was inevitable. Just imagine the scene. On the sacred plain of Kurukshetra, 2 colossal armies stood facing each other. The air was thick with tension, the ground trembling under the weight of millions of soldiers, thousands of elephants, horses, and war chariots. This wasn't just a battle. It was the world's greatest warriors assembled in one place. On the Pandava side, there was the peerless archer, Arjuna, the mighty club-wielding Bhima, and their wise elder brother. Supporting the Kauravas were legendary figures like the invincible grandsire Bhishma, the brilliant teacher Drona, and the tragic hero Karna, Arjuna's long-lost brother and sworn rival. It was a lineup of superheroes, a clash of titans, where loyalties were tested and family ties were shattered. The battle itself, which raged for 18 brutal days, is a masterclass in storytelling. Each day brought new strategies, new heroes, and new heartbreaks. The scale is almost unimaginable. We hear of celestial weapons capable of destroying entire armies, complex military formations like the deadly Chakravyuha, and duels so intense they seem to shake the very heavens. It's here that the Mahabharata truly shines, exploring the brutal reality and moral complexities of war. It wasn't just about good versus evil. It was about duty, dharma, and the difficult choices one must make in the heat of conflict. Good people did terrible things, and those on the wrong side often acted with honor. Perhaps the most iconic moment of the entire epic happens right before the first arrow is fired. The mighty warrior Arjuna, seeing his own cousins, teachers, and relatives in the opposing army, is overcome with grief and doubt. He lays down his bow, refusing to fight. It's at this critical juncture that his charioteer, who is none other than Lord Krishna, delivers one of the most profound spiritual and philosophical discourses ever known. The Bhagavad Gita. Krishna explains the nature of duty, action, the soul, and the universe itself. He urges Arjuna to fight not for personal gain or hatred, but because it is his righteous duty, his dharma, as a warrior to uphold justice. This conversation transforms the battlefield from a mere ground for physical warfare into a stage for a deep spiritual struggle. It elevates the Mahabharata from a simple war story to a timeless guide on life, ethics, and spirituality. The 18 days of battle were a relentless saga of bloodshed and sacrifice. Legendary warriors fell one by one. The grandsire Bhishma, who could choose the time of his own death, was taken down by a strategic, albeit morally ambiguous move involving Arjuna. The brilliant guru Drona, tricked into believing his son was dead, laid down his arms in grief and was slain. The tragic Karna, plagued by curses his entire life, was finally defeated by Arjuna in a dramatic and heart-wrenching duel when his chariot wheel got stuck in the mud. The climax was a ferocious mace fight between the strongest warriors of both sides, Bhima and Duryodhana. After a long and brutal fight, Bhima, fulfilling an old vow, struck Duryodhana down, ending the war. The aftermath was devastating. While the Pandavas won the war, the victory felt hollow. They had won a kingdom of the dead. Almost everyone they knew and loved was gone. The fields of Kurukshetra were littered with the bodies of millions. The epic doesn't glorify war. It shows its true cost. The final books of the Mahabharata are filled with sorrow, regret, and the Pandavas' attempts to find peace and atonement for the carnage they had presided over. It's a powerful and somber reminder that in a war of this magnitude, there are no true winners. So, the big question remains, is any of this real? Did the Battle of Kurukshetra actually happen? For centuries, this was considered purely mythology. But in recent decades, archaeological and textual evidence has started to paint a different picture. The traditional date for the war, based on astronomical alignments described in the text, is around 3100 BCE. While that date is debated, many scholars now place a potential historical core of the event in the late Bronze Age of India, somewhere between 1200 and 900 BC. Why? Well, archaeological digs in the regions mentioned in the epic, like Hastinapura, have uncovered a specific type of pottery known as painted greyware. Every large-scale conflict could have occurred. Furthermore, the geography described in the Mahabharata is remarkably accurate. The rivers, cities, and regions mentioned are all real places. Kurukshetra is a real location in the state of Haryana, in India, a place historically known as a battleground. The text also gives detailed genealogies of kings and dynasties. When you compare these genealogies from the Mahabharata with other ancient texts, like the Puranas, you find a surprising level of consistency, suggesting they might be based on real king lists passed down through oral tradition. Of course, this doesn't mean there were magical celestial weapons or that 100 brothers were born from a single womb. What historians and archaeologists suggest is that the Mahabharata is likely based on a real, significant tribal conflict that took place in ancient northern India. This historical event, probably a power struggle between two related clans, was so impactful that it was remembered for centuries. Over time, as the story was told and retold by bards and poets, it was embellished, expanded, and infused with mythology, philosophy, and religious teachings. The scale was exaggerated, characters became larger-than-life heroes, and divine interventions were added to explain the unexplainable and to teach moral lessons. So, the Mahabharata became what it is today, a magnificent tapestry woven with threads of history, myth, and philosophy. The core event might have been a real battle, the memory of which was preserved for generations. The story of this battle then became a vessel to carry some of the deepest wisdom of Indian civilization. It became a story about the human condition, about the eternal struggle between right and wrong, and about the search for meaning in a world of chaos and conflict. Ultimately, whether the Battle of Kurukshetra happened exactly as described is less important than the enduring power of its story. The Mahabharata is not just a tale of an ancient war. It's an exploration of human nature, a guide to ethical living, and a source of profound spiritual wisdom. It teaches us that life is complex, choices are hard, and even in victory, there can be great loss. It shows us that the real battle is not always on an external field, but within our own hearts and minds. The struggle between our own inner Pandavas and Kauravas, between our better angels and our inner demons, is a battle we all fight every single day. That is the true, timeless legacy of the Mahabharata. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into ancient history and myth fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world. Let us know in the comments what part of the Mahabharata fascinates you the most. See you in the next video.